there's a lot of companies out there that say, well, what are you in business for? Well, we're in business to make money. Yes, we're all in business to make money. But the real successful companies also have an overriding philosophy. You know, they're like our magnet wire. We're in to help the world electrify. That's just what we do. There's a sustainable message to it, but we want to make sure that our customers who are moving that direction want to be able to do that. So that's a key part, and I think that's a part of what you were talking about, and it's so important to millennials. If you don't, you know, if they think you're just out for the money, they'll find someone else.
Welcome to IndustrialSage, a free video podcast series all about digital marketing for industrial manufacturers. Hear interviews with your peers and find out how they're solving the same challenges that you might be facing in your own field. Coming to you from the Optimum Production Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is IndustrialSage.
Hey, so for today's episode, we are picking up on part 2 of the Georgia Manufacturing Summit educational panel discussion on sales and marketing that we released last week. As a reminder, we have Drew Carl, who is the Director of Corporate Marketing for Superior Essex, and we have Sloan Markovich, who is the Chief Sales Officer for a custom manufacturer here in Georgia called Tie Down. Now, let's begin part 2. So, all right, let's kick over a little bit more. Sloan, to you. I really want to hear your story on just how you guys, you know, we're gathering information and saying, hey, you know, we really need to start moving in this direction. We need to start using this digital marketing. And, you know, what did that look like? And how did you start?
So first it was, again, setting the foundation for the company. It was before the digital marketing aspect. It was, you know, back to the whole digitization effort. Really, you know, how can you access your information as quickly as possible? So I know everyone has maybe not have an ERP system, but you know, you may have modules built on top of it. But first and foremost, we had to really get our act together in terms of business intelligence, and that really, you don't know what you don't know, so to speak. So being able to actually have that data and really work from there just kind of creates that foundation for, okay, at least I kind of have an idea of what we're working with. So that was a big part of our call, like the second part of our company in terms of where we're going next. Also the capital asset side. But really, when I came to Georgia Manufacturing Summit, the two areas that I really wanted to focus on were the work-based development and recruiting, and then digital marketing and basically improving that marketing aspect, because we had nothing. Let's just be perfectly frank. We had a website. It was awful. We fortunately reformatted that. But after this, you know, came out just really excited, and I think I was in touch with you guys about a week after that, because, hey, well, you know, no one really internally wants to step up to the plate. We don't really know what we're doing. It really helps to ask for that help. So, you know, I would encourage basically bringing somebody in like that really knows what they're doing, like an Optimum or anyone, just to have that new perspective come in and just kind of give you well, you don't have to necessarily work with, you know, outside, you know, partners all the time, but again, just start somewhere. And so, you know, start talking, okay, well, how do you start generating content? Well, fortunately, content is everywhere. And really the people within your company are probably some of your best content producers. You know, one thing that people tell internally within Tie Down is like, well, you know, do you mind doing this tour because you do it so well? And so actually one of the first times going around, we finally had a basically video guy just, you know, documenting everything that we're doing, moving along throughout the operation. But you know, from there also took the points on like LinkedIn. I'm a pretty social person, but I hate social media. So it's kind of shocked me that everyone is like in that business space, like moving more and more towards LinkedIn. And we didn't even have a LinkedIn presence. I mean, I think it's like an automatic sign-up type thing. It's like, oh, well, there's a company here, but there's no one following you. So we started hitting that pretty hard about 3 months ago. And I think we're up to about 800 some odd followers. And what was probably one of the best compliments that I heard so far, actually, just in passing, came from our brother. It's like, he goes, and he's CFO for a company. He goes, you know, I was talking to such and such outside of the company, and he goes, you guys really stepped up your LinkedIn game. And that was just, you know, pretty powerful to hear. It's like, wow, so actually people are out there even looking at us. And even actually our oldest tenured employee, 40 years old, he came to me, and this guy is literally as old tech as you can imagine. He still had a flip phone until basically, our truck driver, he had a flip phone until basically they went to that GPS system. He was like, oh, I guess I got to have a smartphone now. And he told me when we did these announcements, announcing that these people had been here tenured for a long time, he goes, well, hey, I heard on LinkedIn that, you're celebrating 30-year employees. How come I wasn't mentioned? It's like, well, you've been here 40 years. Those are people that just hit 30 years. I'm like, how'd you even find out about that? He's like, well, through my son. And it just goes to show how far it goes beyond the company. So just really starting to work to get some kind of presence. And when you start hearing just somebody, basically people saying, wow, great job here, it kind of becomes a bit of a snowball effect. Being able to go around with your organization and people not get as afraid of, well, hey, now I have a quick little cell phone video doing a little video of it. Well, it's a little intimidating at first, but once it kind of starts to seem a bit organic from there, then you get more buy-in from people wanting to also, kind of contribute towards that effort. So you got to start somewhere. I didn't have really that really needed help from others to be able to make that happen. But again, just at least getting that initial push and that initial shove goes a really long way. We did hire a content creator, and basically that was, well, hey, our graphics guy, he can't take, doesn't want to do digital, content side, so brought someone in and just started documenting the story of who we are. And in terms of where to start for creating that content, again, your people are great, but also, what are you most proud of in that company? What is it that you're most proud of in terms of that solution that you offer, or that you love within your daily life, and being able to relate that to people and get that out. Trust me, people are going to be coming back to that hit me on an emotional level. And that's really what you want to do, is connect at that level and basically get it to the next point for, well, hey, picked up the phone, looked you guys up. Pretty cool what y'all have going on. Love to come in and see, what y'all can do for us. And it's been fun seeing where it's kind of got to this day. But again, we're in our infancy. Really encourage you get what you pay for. So basically, next thing we got to do is our corporate video. And that's not something we can really do internally. So that's probably something we want to, a real nice professional production done, obviously with someone like you all. But again, start somewhere, grab a cell phone, get a couple drones. It was a great excuse to buy some DJI Mavic Pros. And actually, one of the fun things that we did, it was, again, an organic moment. I saw nothing makes me more proud. And, seeing people obviously build a product, but then when you see a truckload of your product leaving your factory, it's like, hey, get that drone, get that thing up there. Actually, it was Chase's idea, he used to do that. Get that drone up there and video that truckload of product going out to our customer. And before you've even gotten this video done, all patched up and everything, we took the unedited version and sent that to the customer, that load going there. And they were just like, that was pretty cool to see. Keep sending them our way. I mean, just little things like that go a pretty long way. So again, just start somewhere and just really run from there.
Yeah. I think one of the things you said about that kind of get out there what you do and why you do. So with millennials, one of the things that is kind of come up in research a lot is they want to know why you do something and what you stand for. They will engage with you as a company more if they can get behind what you stand for and what you do. So there's a lot of companies out there that say, well, what are you in business for? Well, we're in business to make money. Yes, we're all in business to make money. But the real successful companies also have an overriding philosophy. They're like our magnet wire. We're in to help the world electrify. That's just what we do. There's a sustainable message to it, but we want to make sure that our customers who are moving that direction want to be able to do that. So that's a key part, and I think that's a part of what you were talking about, and it's so important to millennials. If you don't, if they think you're just out for the money, they'll find someone else.
And the best people to capture that from are the people that really believe in your company. So where it's getting just that little bit of story behind, why is it that they do what they do, and that comes through naturally for them. That's not something that just gets faked.
Yeah.
And when people see that, again, it touches them to the core.
And especially people on your manufacturing floors, people that work, in your office. Every company has it, whether they know it or not. You just have to find out what it is, because it's woven within your company. Sometimes it's from your founders or owners. Sometimes it's just built in with your product and who you do and who you sell to. But it's there, and to your point, you can state it and come from a corporate communication side, but I think that's one way, but it has more power coming from your people and what it means to them.
Yeah, and it's a great recruiting tool too, by the way.
There's a fine line between, creating, I'll take magnet wire, someone who wants 1,000 pounds. It's not efficient for us to make a unique product for them. But if we think they have the capability of becoming a Tesla, we will. Why? Because we're building a relationship. Tesla, for us, is a partner, and they are asking us to build plants in certain places and be able to produce as they expand. So being able to create products that meet their needs, even if it means you're doing it at not the most efficient way at the front end, you're providing a solution and providing partners for a longer period of time. We're lucky that most of our customers that we go customized with, it's not 100% customized. We have 50 products or so, but we can take and make slight variations in it. So it doesn't take us a lot to be able to change. We still, the wire gets created, gets melted down and created in the right size. We've done this a lot. And most manufacturing processes have that capability of making slight adjustments without it changing the big thing of what they do. That kind of goes to of that partner and that solution is that's how we got Tesla. They came to us initially. They made a connection with us because they knew we had 90 years of experience. There was people that came into Tesla from other organizations that knew we could consult with them to then help them build the motor that they wanted to be able to build. That we had the technical knowledge and the ability and the time. We weren't just worried about selling them something. We wanted to create and build something that was specific to them. And so really it was a solution focus, and our case study work, even though it didn't exist the way it does now, and our solution focus, that's why we got that partnership with them.
Excellent. So right now it's about 3:25, so I want to be respectful of schedule. So at this point, I don't know if you have any closing remarks you want to make. I'll open it up to questions. Yep. Hey, so for this section of the podcast, were asked several questions. The audience members were not mic'd. So for the audio purposes, we are just rephrasing the question so you can have our answers in better context. So the first question that we were asked was around ROI for video and digital content. So they say video and content are awesome, but super expensive. Our senior leadership has no interest if we can't attribute ROI, or it's very hard to sell that in. How do you prove value and show ROI?
So analytics are a key. To be able to understand what people are doing on your website, what people are doing with your videos, how many people are engaging with it, and that path to kind of purchase. So I can track someone from the first moment they get to my website, how long it takes them to actually engage with us. They'll probably come back 4 or 5 times before they actually fill out a form. Google, and there's a lot of other software packages that allow you to be able to do that. I'd say the biggest thing for executives, to your point, I can't just go into my senior executives and say, hey, give me $50,000, I want to play with it. I have to have, what we did is created some dashboards to and then teach them what these dashboards tell you. That process of that, hey, how can we increase the number of people coming to our website, increase the number of people that are our customers or prospects coming to our website, and then move them through this process a little bit quicker and educate them through that process. And one of the things we really were able to do is tie in with our salespeople to help them, our salespeople, re-emphasize that to leadership. So it became much more of a partnership between marketing and sales to be able to get that message across. But yeah, I'm not able to do everything I want to do. It just because I still work with an older, traditional, sales-focused organization. But that's moving in the right direction, and really it's based on analytics. What I can show them in hard numbers of people going to our website, what they're engaging in, what when they send in a lead, and then those leads are becoming customers. So
Yeah.
Also, so much of it is just kind of anecdotal, too, at the same time. I mean, when you have, almost like in our instance, we didn't have much of a presence there, but then, hey, well, I saw the video, or I saw this, online about you guys. I want to find out more information. Where you didn't have anything like that before, or if you didn't have some kind of a campaign already launched, and now you're seeing traffic. I mean, it's pretty easy to actually see a benefit pretty quickly. Now that's not to say you always see it, but analytics are great, but also at the same time just having again that anecdotal. Well, I didn't know anything about y'all, but I looked y'all up. I got this information. I saw the video. I saw y'all on LinkedIn. How do we get to the next step? And really, again, you don't need $30,000. I mean, there's low budget tools you can definitely use. But yes, absolutely. When it starts, when you're looking at a big campaign, like for us, the next big thing is like a really, really well done professional corporate video for us. I mean, yeah, then you got to sit back and just justify it to your upper management and executive team.
I think it also depends on the size of the organization. We're a $2 billion global organization, so it's a little bit tougher. So we had to rely more on the analytics. But to your point, I've worked in small organizations where literally in the hallway people start talking about it, and you're like, "Hey man, where do they hear about us?" "Oh, they said they saw our LinkedIn," or something like that. And as you start to generate those things, that starts to happen. And in a small organization, you hear those things.
I'm just for 2 seconds. From a marketer standpoint, the golden goose obviously is to be able to have that direct attribution to be able to say, hey, look, we did X amount over here and it produced over here. And I think one of the challenges the manufacturer typically we can have is that if you are going through distribution, that's sometimes going to be next impossible to try to track. If you're selling direct, it can be a lot easier if you've got the right systems in place. So you've got you have a LinkedIn ad campaign that's generating results, and you've got marketing automation on your website. You're able to track those people, and if you have a CRM that's tied in there, and you can create that direct connection, then you can get there in that instance. But I think a lot of times that's the marketer's challenge. It can be very difficult to be able to prove that out. But if it's set up correctly, that you can do that through video analytics, tracking,
Constant contact campaigns. Those are very valuable too.
Question 2. It's easy to track leads from trade shows, but it's difficult to do so with digital leads or other sources. How do you determine which tactics are working?
Yeah, I mean, when we set up the analytics, so I know now how many people are hitting my website, then how many people move into the different parts of my website, how many people are hitting video versus content, and then how many people are submitting. So it took a period of time to be able to understand what those 75, 55, 12, that kind of, what percentages. And then you're always working to get those percentages better, meaning leads to acquisitions. But you've got to set the tools up to be able to monitor and track that. And to your point, we even have then taken that back to things like trade shows. So we now have taken, those are leads to us. So we want to know where they come from. They didn't come from our website, but they come in, and then how fast are we able to work them through the system, and how many of them become sales? Because if you're going to go to a trade show and spend $20, $30, $50, $80,000 for a booth, you've got to know that it's worth your money.
And by the way, those trade shows are great content generators. We actually bring our content creator with us to every trade show now. So, easy money.
Question 3. Going solely through distributors hasn't always worked for us. We've lost deals to a lot of people who are going direct. Shouldn't marketing make content for end users too?
Yeah, we're the same mindset too, and also, let's address the other elephant in the room. The more that you also own that end user, if it does get in a situation where now you're going direct to said end user, you've already had and set up the entire channel in order to do so. I mean, your distributors obviously have a role in play, but if it gets to that point where they're no longer effective, then you really, I've already been working with you to pretty much directly already. So.
Question 4. What tools are you using? What have you found to be successful, and why do you prefer those tools?
LinkedIn first and foremost. That was just like the easiest no-brainer to start. We do have a constant contact campaign as well, but we really wanted to avoid just bolting on another module here, another module here. So that's part of our whole identifying a single business, a single business intelligence unit. So for us, we use Power BI, which is a Microsoft product, which is great because it ties across all of the other Microsoft suite of products, between Teams, which you can tie into, sales tools as well, anything you have, already set up with your ERP systems for custom reporting. So it's that, again, someone can come in and bring in like a new program for you, like dialed in, okay, I can make this work here, but then what about when the next module gets bolted on? Or, hey, I need work on this, well, I got to work with that only one single provider. Whereas if you can consolidate or work on that across your organization, it has a very, very powerful impact. Yes, that too. Yep.
Yeah, so LinkedIn is probably one of the biggest. I'd say account-based marketing is something that I've used for a number of years, and there's a number of different players. A local company called Terminus. They provide they're expensive, but they provide a very good package, very good platform. But there's also some smaller players in the market that are a little bit less expensive. I found account-based marketing is probably the best way to target. So because you can go out there and spray and forget, it's like spaghetti against the wall, which is going to stick. That's expensive and it's inefficient. Whereas account-based marketing, especially if you know who your customers are, and then with lookalike and things like that, you can be very, very efficient, very, very effective on getting to who you want when you want. And then I'd say, Google Analytics, and then anything within that Google suite of analytics, like tag managers and things like that. Those are kind of core. You just can't not use those products and to use them to their fullest ability.
Question 5. Content centered solely around core values can get boring. How do I get clients willing to join in a case study?
I think it's just like any sales, you got to find out what's in it for them. So what we've done, even with faceless case studies, there's something in it for them. That we can give them some data and show that, and we can show them that, hey, we're partnering with you to be able to produce this. In regular case studies where you use their name, but honestly, they get publicity. If I'm going to push it out all over the marketplace, and it shows that they are an innovator, they're looking to stress and change themselves and meet their customers' needs, because we write it, but we run it by them and make sure it's powerful for them too. It's got to be a win-win.
The process, I'm sure, quantifies to a certain extent. It gives them the ammunition to go out and tell the story for you.
Yep. Yeah.
But is there anything more to that?
Identify a successful project. Where did you all really succeed in? And that's where salespeople especially become really important there, because they're working on this solution, and if finally both parties really benefit from it, then and really was that impactful? Like, hey, wasn't that great? It's like, well, do you mind helping share this emotion with me? And I frankly have never ran into an issue with someone wanting to basically share that moment of success, or wow, my job of what I was doing before was was so awful compared to what basically you all provided me now. People want to tell that story. I mean, you did just make a big impact on what their daily life may have entailed in terms of what they were using before as a previous solution. So I think oftentimes people want to share that, and then they become your biggest champion beyond that.
I think also too, the solution is not always just in the product, it's how you deliver it.
Yep.
That customer service.
Yep.
Like the fact that we were flexible enough to change the shipping that we did for them, or based on their needs, or different things like that. So a lot of times it's not just the salesperson, it's your accounting department, it's your transportation department, those kind of things. So the best clients to be able to talk to are the ones where they have a lot of interaction with you, and then you can help tell that story. Because again, in the end, you want to really have that our product made that big difference, but you don't always get that, especially in our industry, in fiber optics. The fiber optic cable we make is not that much different than the fiber optic cable any of our manufacturing competitors make. It just isn't. But it's how we manufacture it is different for us, and then what we do for our customers is different for us. And that's especially when you get in manufacturing, a lot of it is commoditization to some extent. That's how you stand apart. It's not, ours is purple and theirs is blue. Who cares? Hope that helps.
I'll add one quick thing to that, actually, just some real world examples. To your point about bringing, what's in it for me, super important. I think flipping it around and seeing how you can create value for them, that the first focus would be value to them, and then the second piece being, okay, now we get this. What do I mean specifically by that is we had there was a situation where we were trying to get in front of some dealers and trying to get video, and it was just, they wanted to specifically do it with video so that they could share that case study to other people, and that can be very, very difficult to try to get into somebody else's facility. It's organization, it's a big challenge. They got to clean up, they got to do all this stuff. So if we take it and we flip it, and they say, hey, we want to go and basically do this video all about you. You guys can use this for your sales and marketing. It's going to be something that's going to be able to get out there. And then they all of a sudden turn it around and say, oh, wow, you mean we're going to do something about us and we can use this? Yeah, and also when we're there, we're just going to ask you a couple other questions about, that case study or whatever, and then all of a sudden it just totally flips the script and they get all excited and the door is just open, open wide. So, well, on that note, thank you guys. It is now 3:46. So thank you so much for coming and attending. Hope you guys get some good nuggets to take away. And enjoy the rest of the summit. The closing session will, I believe, start in 15 minutes at 4.
Good job, guys. Hey,
Thank you.